guys, this is Brian from the gas station. Just wanted to check in with you guys and kind of give you some of my thoughts and impressions of the Nikon Df. There's tons of construction going on outside of my house right now, so I apologize for that in advance. But I wanted to get a video out. So anyway, so here we go, the Nikon Df. Honestly, the first I heard of it and the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, this thing is amazing. And, you know, in most respects, I think it is. I mean, it's a beautiful camera. The specs on it are definitely respectable. I do have some issues, though. Wow. I mean, I guess what it comes down to is, you know, what did I like about my old cameras that I was hoping for, you know, would show up in this camera? What was I looking for, you know, in this, my Nikon F3, that I was hopefully going to get in the Nikon Df? Well, the first thing that we wanted, you know, was the full frame sensor, which is fantastic, and they put in the sensor from the D4, which is fantastic, and you know, the low light capabilities on that and everything are just fantastic, and you know, all in all, that is a great place to start. But what were the other things that we were looking for, you know, that we had in our older cameras, that this was hopefully, you know, sort of like this, you know, was a wish for a lot of people, including me, and, you know, what we would like in some of they basically, it comes down to the retro look and feel. But I think for me and for a lot of people, it's more than just a retro look. It's how the camera feels, how you interact with the camera and stuff like that. So, you know, some of the things that I liked about the old cameras, you know, was manual focusing. I like to be able to manual focus. I like the split image, the pentaprisms and the micro prisms and all that stuff, to be able to focus accurately, you know, especially on wide open and you know, when you're shooting at 1.4, 1.2 or something like that, you want to be able to get that fine focus in there. So that was something I really liked about, you know, these cameras, is you could do that. The manual controls, I like having, you know, everything on top of the camera, just right there, easy to get to. I don't like to have to go through and search through all the menus and configure everything all the time. I wanted something a little bit more simple, more rudimentary, as far as, you know, I want to change my aperture. I just reach to the lens and I change the aperture, and I know when I know if I'm here and I'm at f22, I know if I'm here I'm at, you know, 1.8. So if I'm just kind of working my way through, you learn to know the camera this way, in this tactile feel. And, you know, I suppose you can get that with, you know, with a spinny dial and stuff like that, but it doesn't give you quite that same feel. You know, so the manual controls is definitely a big thing. Build quality is another. You know, these cameras were built to last. I mean, that's just the, you know, the Nikon F3, you know, this is what, 1970s, you know, this is an old camera. It's still in excellent shape. So, you know, there was some of that, you know, the big viewfinders were really nice. This one is the F3 HP, so it has sort of a bigger viewfinder on it. And, you know, that was something I was looking forward to, you know, being able to change, you know, just, again, no menus on an analog camera. It's just, you know, or at least something like this, the F3, you just, you know, you change the settings, you set your ISO, and then you just go and shoot. So that's, you know, one of the things I was looking for. I also do like the looks of this. I mean, it's just a classic camera, and the ergonomics are not, you know, like the newer Nikons and stuff like that. And I suppose the ergonomics are better, but I feel more connected, I think, with this camera than I did with, you know, when I had a D300 or whatever it was. I don't. You know, I feel more connected with my my X Pro 1 than I ever did with my D300 or any other camera for that matter. But that, you know, that's set up more, you know, like my Leica, like my, you know, my M6, and I appreciated that. So, what was it in a new camera that we were all looking for? Yes, you know, the full frame was great, so we can, you know, have use of all our lenses. The digital ease of use obviously is great. So if you could have, you know, basically, if I can make a digital F3, I'd be really happy. And, you know, it'd be nice to have the screen on the back and all that stuff. High-speed flash sync would be nice. You know, that's something that, you know, if you're doing any kind of studio work, it's nice to have, you know, a high flash sync on your camera to, you know, for all your flash and studio work. Video would be great. You know, just if you just to have it, it doesn't have to be like super video, but you know, not, you know, but just to have it there. I mean, it's, you know, why not? And high ISO capability, which this doesn't really have. So I mean, you can, but you know, that's something that we were all looking for. So what did Nikon do with this? You know, the DF. Well, they hit it on all marks appearance-wise. Man, that thing just looks, I think it looks spectacular. I think it looks just great. And if, you know, and the specs, for the most part, are pretty good. I'm not going to go through all the specs. I mean, they're everywhere to be found. But basically, it's a full-frame camera with the D4 sensor, which is a 16.2 megapixel camera. Has the autofocusing system from the D600 and the 610, I believe, or the 600. So, and it does have a pentaprism, so it is a real SLR. It's not a mirrorless camera. And the other nice thing that they did do was they let you use all of your Nikon lenses ever made, basically. So if you have a Nikon lens, it's going to work on this camera for the most part. Where do they fall down? Well, the focusing screen on the DF is a regular standard DSLR focusing screen. So there's no split image, there's no microprism, you know, anything like that. So manual focus is going to be difficult. That's just the fact of the matter. And if you're shooting with fast glass, if you're shooting with something 1.4, 1.2, something like that, it's going to be very difficult to focus with this camera, and you're going to have to, I don't know what you're going to have to do. And the thing that they didn't do was give you the option to swap out the focus screens. So you're stuck. You have what you have, and that's that. I don't know. That's a huge failure in my eyes. You know, at least make it a replaceable focusing screen, so you know you can take it out and put it in. So you know, what if you're a guy who doesn't want to go and, you know, maybe you're a guy who's been using an F3 for all these years, and you want to go and you want to, you know, say, you know, I'll buy the new Nikon, the DF, and it's basically going to be an easy transition going from analog to digital. So, but you can't really do that now. So I think they've missed a huge portion of the market. You know, especially with these, you know, older lenses that are out there that are great lenses, and you're going to get great quality out of them, but you can't focus them, or you can, but it's not going to be nearly as good. I don't know if they're going to include focus peaking or anything like that in the live view, but it's definitely not going to happen through the viewfinder. That's not happening. The only other thing that they did is that I'm not crazy about is the they only give you a 1/200th flash sync speed, which is kind of like, really? I mean, and they omitted video, which is kind of a big deal. They basically said that was more of a philosophy choice. That's what Nikon is saying. So the philosophy, this is pure still photography. Well, yeah, I get that, but you know, I'm not a huge video guy, but I do video, and it's nice to have once in a while. And if you're there and you've got this big sensor and you've got this fast glass, it might not, you know, might not be a bad idea to be able to do a little bit of video, at least, you know, just some, you know, something with the kids or something. So now you have to carry a whole nother video camera. That's kind of a pain. The lens that they're bundling with it is the it's basically their standard 50mm 1.8 G lens, which is basically $100 lens, but they've restyled it, so they're going to now charge you, I think, $200 for it. So I mean, there it is. I mean, the camera's beautiful, but there's no aperture ring on it at all. It's just not there. There's no aperture ring. So the front of the camera looks great, the controls look great, the design of the camera is fantastic, but they're falling down on a lot of the specs. You know, they're just, well, Joe McNally apparently likes it, but so, but you know, again, they did a nice job with the look of it, but they really failed on some of the technical stuff. I mean, yeah, absolutely. The you know, the camera has the controls. Let's see if we can get another look here. Okay, yeah, so they got the look great. The look is excellent. The format, the specs overall are good, but you know, they're saying that Wi-Fi is a big deal and all that stuff. It isn't for me. I mean, I guess it would be nice to have current or past Nikkor lenses, but again, they blew it with the focusing screen. I don't know, all the manual controls are on the top, and that's great. And then so you have the option to use them or not, which is I mean, that's okay too. You know, so you have, you know, the ISO control on the left and exposure compensation on the left and shutter speeds and the shooting modes and all that stuff. And I don't care that they included HDR, and I don't care that they included, you know, some filters and stuff like that. That's fine. I really don't care about that. What I do care about is the functionality of the camera, and I think they kind of dropped the ball on that. So, and then where I think they super dropped the ball is this right here, the price. I mean, look at that. $27.49. That's a lot of money. It's basically the same price as the D800, and the D800 is a much more robust camera. Granted, it doesn't have the looks, but it's got everything else. So, I mean, I guess if I were going to spend $3,000 or $2,700, $2,800, I think the D800 is a much better deal. The DF has the looks. Will it inspire you to go out and take pictures? Maybe it will, because of the look and the feel of the camera, and I've talked about that before. Maybe it'll inspire you to go out, but they're gearing this towards serious amateurs and professionals. So, you know, for the serious amateur, well, you know, maybe the looks is enough, and maybe it'll inspire them to go out and shoot. But for the professional, man, this is not this is not the camera I'd be picking. You know, I would go directly to the D800, and I don't know. I mean, you know, this does give you more in the way of lens selection, because you can use pretty much every Nikon lens ever made. But I don't know if it's, I don't know. It's just it's a weird thing. So for $3,000, full frame, I don't know. So I did a kind of a little comparison here between the Sony's, the new Alpha 7s and the 7R and the DF. And, you know, again, we're looking at $1,700, I think, for the Alpha 7, around closer to $2,000, a little bit over, I think, for the A7R. And on the DF, also there is still an AA filter, an anti-aliasing filter in there. So, but if we look at the specs here, just sort of like the basic autofocus stuff, the A7 has contrast detect and phase detect. The DF has contrast detect and phase detect. The A7R has a 36 megapixel sensor, but it does not have phase detect. It's only contrast detect. So, I mean, there's pretty much, they're pretty close in every way, except for, I don't know, but I think actually it says tracking, but I think these actually do that with like face detection and all that stuff. And there is no focus assist lamp. And listen, I'm no Sony fanboy. Believe me, I've been the first person to lambaste the NEX7 and Sony on that, and believe me, I'm not a Sony fanboy. You know, these have tilting screens. The DF has a fixed screen. It's a little bit larger, less resolution. It's 921,000 pixels, as opposed to the 1,230,000 on the NEX. Well, not the NEX. Sorry, the Alpha 7s. All these cameras are pretty much neck and neck. Okay, and the DF also falls down on the high shutter speed. So if you're using, you know, so it's got 1/4,000th of a second as opposed to 1/8,000th. I think they really should have bumped it up to 1/8,000th, especially for $3,000. Aperture priority, all that stuff, you know, all that stuff is the same. This is on DP Review, by the way, guys, so you can go and check this out. They're saying here no scene modes. I don't know if that's true or not. That's yet to be seen. So I have a feeling that might just be an omission, but I'm not sure. It does say auto FP high speed sync, so I don't know how that's. And they say an X-sync speed of 1/250th. I know that's not true. I know it's 1/200th. So that's a misprint right there. They may change that. I don't know by the time it actually comes out. But everything I'm reading, except for this, says 1/200th of a second. You know, pretty much everything is spot on. These guys are all neck and neck, and of course, no video. so none of that really matters. They're expecting to get about 1,400 shots. I believe it's 1,400, between 11 and 14, somewhere around there, off the battery, which is definitely reasonable because it doesn't do video. I'm sure that's going to go way down if you use the live view as well. So I gotta say, I don't think, yeah, see the $1,400 shots here as opposed to 340 with the Sony Alpha 7s. So I gotta say, I think Nikon kind of dropped the ball on this one a little bit. And then, you know, people are saying, well, you know, what about you know, the Leicas and all that stuff? Well, you know, Leica kept with their tradition. They kept the rangefinder. They kept the same kind of focusing system. They, you know, if anything, they're adding to their cameras. They, you know, with the new M240, they added video. I mean, it's not, you know, it doesn't look like it's spectacular, and there's no, you know, image stabilization or any of that stuff. But they're Leica's moving forward, keeping with the things that people were looking for. It seems to me that this camera, the Nikon Df, honestly is just all about the looks. They didn't, you know, the looks and basic specs. It's full frame retro camera, and that's it. And then they put it out there, and they did a nice job, you know, with the appearance, and they did a nice job with the manual controls. But, you know, honestly, you gotta, you know, you gotta keep moving forward with this stuff. You know, you don't want to cripple a camera, and I think that's really what they do is they cripple their stuff sometimes, or camera manufacturers or manufacturers of goods in general often tend to cripple their stuff, and I don't know why. I don't get it. I think it's maybe so they can come up with something new later on, but you know what, why don't you give, they already have this technology. They say it's a fusion of the old and the new. It's basically a fusion of a D800, a D600, and a D4. Okay, so, you know, it's weather sealed. That's great, but, you know, that's from the D800. What else did you get from the D800? Well, not much else. You didn't get the video. You didn't get all that other stuff. So anyway, there's the long and short of it for me. You know, I think it's a great looking camera. I would love to have one. I think it'd be fun, but I'm not going to go and spend, you know, almost $3,000 on this body. You know, I'd love to play with it. I'd love to, you know, I'm sure the image quality is going to be fantastic, but there's some crucial things missing for the price point. I guess that's what it comes down to. I think if they had released this camera, you know, if they had gone down, you know, to the, you know, $1,500, $1,700 level, I think this might definitely have been a contender. Even close to $2,000, this might have been a contender. But you know, for you know, for the full frame and all that stuff, the good ISO and, you know, high ISO, and just for image quality wise, and the fact that I can use all my Nikon stuff, all my Nikon lenses, that would have been a go-to. But man, almost $3,000, I don't know. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Why don't you let me know? I just made a huge thump. That was just me. My table's a little shaky. So anyway, so yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your thoughts are on this camera. Again, you know, I first saw it and I was like, wow, camera lust. You know, I just was like, this thing is beautiful. This is going to be the answer to all my prayers, but alas, no. Anyway, guys, that's it. Brian from the gas station. Thanks for watching, and yeah, type down in the comments there what you think. You know, I'm curious to see what your guys' you know, ideas and thoughts on this are. So, Sony Alpha, Nikon Df. I don't know. I'm kind of holding out now. I was gonna run out and get, you know, maybe one of the Sonys, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling some people are going to come up with something else good, and hopefully something else comes down the pike, and we're going to get excited about that. So I'm going to hang on for a while. I still got all my stuff, and I'm not anxious to sell anything soon. And, you know, honestly, for $3,000, that's a lot of film. That's a lot of film and processing. So, you know, and that's full frame on my Nikon F3. And I just got a, oh, you want to talk about a big viewfinder? See if I can find it real quick. Hang on. I'm going to give you guys a sneak preview. I'm going to review this camera very soon. But, wow, something like this. You know, and there's no option to do anything like this on these new cameras. This is a Canon F1N. And you're wondering, what is that huge appendage on this? Well, this is what they call a speed finder. And you can actually see the entire view screen from this distance on the camera, which is really cool. So if you wear glasses and you have or you're going out, you're going to wear goggles or something like that. If you're going to go, you know, whatever. If you're going to be out in the climate and you got something over your face or whatever, this is great. And it not only stays in this position, but check this out. There you go. So you can do eye level. There you go. So, or waist level rather. How cool is that? What a great camera. What a great finder. And you know what? This finder is removable and replaceable. You cannot do that on the new DF. Even on my my F3, you can replace the entire pentaprism and finder and go waist level, and you can customize. There's no option for that. And these, you know, can all be manually focused very easily with that split image. So anyway, I've gone on too long, and I've anyway, so all sorts of good stuff. But they, you know, again, I think Nikon kind of dropped the ball, guys. But I don't know. Again, like I said, tell me what you think. All right, that's it. Brian from the gas station. Thanks for watching. You guys are awesome.